Hi, this is Zia, and welcome to Holistic Nomads podcast, where ancient wisdom and modern science can help you to have more clarity and energy in your life. Today, I'm going to have a very special guest, and this is also the very first episode where we're doing podcasts, where I'm going to interview people that is practicing amazing healing work that I personally have direct experience with that I will highly recommend. So the very first guest that we have in Holistic Nomad podcast is Hara, and amongst other things that she do, one of the things that she offer that I personally have get really high benefits is a Chi Nei Tsang, or also known as detox belly massage. In this podcast, I'm going to interview her from what is Chi Nei Tsang, where it's come from, what's the benefits, and of course, why she chose this practice among any other modalities. Good morning, Hara. How are you?
Hello, beautiful Zia. Good morning. I'm pretty good this morning, yeah.
Great. You look amazing.
Oh.
I mean, people can't really see it, but I can vouch that you look amazing as always.
Thank you, Zia.
And thank you for coming. Thank you for joining this podcast with Holistic Nomads. This actually will be the first podcast that we release, so I'm really honored to have you in the podcast.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, so we usually have video format. This is podcast, and thank you for coming this morning in Bali.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about this practice.
Very pleasure. So before we share about your work, the amazing things that you do, so I would like to share my experience first, why I invite you to the podcast, Holistic Nomad podcast, because first, basically, quickly, we are going to talk about Chi Nei Tsang, or also known as detox belly massage, and you will explain that further later. The reason why I invited you first is because I personally really love this practice. I knew that our belly has so much things going on in there, and especially for me who have a tendency to hold emotion in my belly, like this practice of detox belly massage has been amazing. I remember my very first detox belly massage experience. I was crying like not even baby, actually, even worse, like crying, like screaming. And it's not just because it was painful, which later can talk about whether it's painful or not, but also it was such an emotional release for me. And then when I met you, which is quote unquote coincidence, but nothing a coincidence, was in that afternoon in this restaurant here in Bali. And when I saw you, I just feel so drawn to talk to you, and we start talking. And then I was looking for like Chi Nei Tsang practitioners, and it's only at the ending of our conversation that you mentioned that you are practicing it. So when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, such a godsend. And so for those who's hearing right now, I received 3 sessions for you back to back, because in my personal experience, it's more beneficial to have that, because first session you just kind of unfold something, and there's more things to be processed. So I booked straight away 3 sessions for you, and I remember first time, obviously I cried because that's my tendency to hold emotions. And in the second session, my period was late for 7 days, and half an hour after the session with you, I get my period poop right away. I mean, not poop, like just like right away. And then the third session, it was such a deep, blissful release. And then after that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna book it with you every single month, just like a regular thing, because I knew that, especially for me who is aware that I have tendency to hold things in my belly, it's such a great practice to do. So that's a big intro for me on why I love this practice and why I really vouch this and recommend this for other people. And those who doesn't know, then hopefully this podcast can help them to make a better decision about their health and whether this practice can be beneficial for them.
Completely.
Are you ready for me to dig deep?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so first, tell me a bit about yourself. I know it's not in the question list.
It's definitely not in the question list. A bit about myself. Well, I'm living here in Bali. I am not Indonesian or Balinese. I am, I've been here for the last 6 months. I do a lot of traveling around the world, learning different practices and implementing those practices into my life. Lots of music, lots of vocal expression work, lots of Chi Nei Tsang. Just lots of working on release, work in general, for myself and other people.
For me, like, Hara is such a beautiful human being, in and out, like, seriously, outside, girl, you're so gorgeous. But inside, everything that you do, not only Chi Nei Tsangs, but like, you told me about your work with the campaign. That's like so beautiful. So I just want to say with you that I really appreciate the things that you do, and keep doing it. Just amazing.
Thank you, beautiful.
Okay, so let's go deeper in the Chi Nei Tsang. First question is, what is Chi Nei Tsang? For those who doesn't know about Chi Nei Tsang, what is it?
Okay, beautiful. So Chi Nei Tsang is ultimately like a really, really profound abdominal massage. And the practice actually comes from classical Chinese and Thai medicine. And Chi Nei Tsang literally translates to the energy and information of the guts, which when put into practice and phrase more politely, becomes internal organs energy transformation.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And what it is, it's basically working directly with the and with the vital organs and tissues around the organs, mainly concentrating the focus on the abdomen, and it works to train our internal organs to work more effectively and efficiently. Rather than working on the muscular or the skeletal structures, it focuses on the vital organs and fascia, which helps to unwind the tension from the navel outwards and purify the cells of the physical and emotional toxins.
That sounds, from what I've learned, if I can relate to it, for example, like I knew that certain organs related with certain emotions, and relating with what you said earlier, like I noticed that when you go work on certain organs, there's certain emotion that come up, certain memories that come up, and it's exactly that unveiling tissue that might entangle, or emotion that might stuck in there. So it's such a powerful and beautiful work. So thank you for sharing that. Now, the next question is, why is this Chi Nei Tsang is practice?
So why is it practice? So I share a little bit of history first. So the Daoist sages of ancient China basically discovered or observed that humans develop energy blocks in their internal organs that result in knots and entanglements. And these blockages and obstructions occur at the center of the body, and the vital functions constrict the flow of energy, so constrict the flow of chi energy. And these negative emotions, whether they be fear, stress, depression, or worry, can cause damage. And problems caused by things like stress or surgery or overworking, drugs, alcohol, poor food, and bad posture, these unhealthy energies begin to manifest and accumulate in the memory and the tissues and the vital organs of the body, which basically create the accumulation and the blockages in the abdomen, which basically prevents or stops the chi from moving and the energy keeping that flow, that natural flow.
It's so interesting because earlier I mentioned to you about my experience yesterday about some emotional things that come up in my life. And I noticed right away my belly was just feeling so weird. It's just like, I ate good things. Like I was with my friend, we ate the same thing. He felt fine, but my belly just like felt so weird. I was unsure why. And then once I have the clarity in my head, in my mind on what's going on with me, like emotionally, my belly actually started feeling fine. So it's so amazing the correlation between what we have, in our mind, mentally with our belly, and also, belly, as I knew, is a second brain, because there's just so many intelligence there, basically. It's just fascinating, and it's not many people, unfortunately, knew that yet. They left their, the health of their organs, internal organs, not their priority, but I'm sure, like, if they know about this fact that our belly plays so much with our health, more people should, pay attention with their organs health.
Yeah, I think most people, go out for a full body therapeutic massage, but then I went for a massage last night and they completely skipped my abdomen.
I know.
And it's crazy for me because I'm like, what? This is the main, the second brain, exactly.
Yes, it's so interesting. I know that, I think because most people don't work in the belly, so it's become so sensitive because there's just so many things in there. So most masseuses then just don't touch there because they're afraid what might come up. But people oh, it's painful, it's too much, so sensitive. But I personally love when people work on my full body massage and then touch just a little bit of my belly. It feels really reassuring. And when they don't touch it, which is most people, they don't do that. It's just so unfortunate because of that lack of awareness of people and how important it is, our belly and the organs in the overall wellness.
Yeah.
So the next question, there are so many healing modalities in this world.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what makes you chose Chi Nei Tsang compared to the others?
Yeah, so I think for me it started when I've been traveling for the last 4.5 years around the world, and mainly traveling to that of, third world countries, and being somewhat susceptible to things like parasites, candida, and just digestive issues in general. I began to face these issues, and I wanted to understand my own body better, my own inner workings, how everything operates and why I was being susceptible to these energies. And of course I discovered that it wasn't just on a physical sense of the candida and the parasites and digestive problems, but there was also the root cause, the emotional aspect in there as well that I needed to look at. So yeah, and I was constantly around people, obviously other travelers and expats who were also experiencing very similar things. And it was a constant story that I was hearing from people, and I was like, wow, there's got to be something that can help, or, So I discovered from my friend when I was in Guatemala this amazing practice, Chi Nei Tsang, and I went to get a practice, and it just completely blew my mind. I'd never experienced or really even heard of anything like this. So I was just really, really intrigued to learn. And at first, there was no intention to become a practitioner or to be practicing it. I mainly just went for the training to receive as many abdominal massages as possible.
That's a good point, yeah.
I was like, okay, it's going to be cheaper if I just do the course, and rather than paying for individual sessions. And
that's smart there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to reap the benefits for myself, and obviously, as I say, I immerse myself in the learning to really learn more about the inner workings of our bodies and our gut. And yeah, from there, obviously things just grew, and I saw how much of a unique practice this was, and how much it wasn't actually being practiced anywhere. And then I moved to Peru, and I was just completely full with bookings constantly, and so much so that I couldn't keep up. And and it was just a very, very unique practice that I found incredibly beautiful and beneficial for so many aspects of life. Yeah.
I'm actually curious, I know it's not on the list of the questions that we always talk about, but I'm just curious, what's the most amazing thing, incredible things that you see in your clients after the sessions? Of course, besides my personal experience that I get my period right away after 7 days late. I'm just curious. Anything spark on top of your mind?
Of course, it's different with everybody, and I'm not always in the session. I'm not always able to witness exactly what's happening for them, because sometimes it is more of an internal process.
And it takes time sometimes.
Of course, and then sometimes it's an integration afterwards. But I had a client that I worked with in Peru who had a lot of he was from an army background, so he'd held a lot of done a lot of core work in terms of bodybuilding, and he felt so tight and so constricted in his core, and just through working with him he was able to really, really kind of relax. And it just, from what he shared with me, he said that he was able to relax a lot more in his core, and he wasn't in so much tension, in so much constraint. And it was all about this unfolding of the past of him being in the army and holding this real manly strength in a way to himself. He was able to find the softening in that.
Yeah, I get what you
That's
mean.
just one of the things.
And I guess you witnessed many people cry during the session.
Yeah, of course. When I was specifically working in Peru, I was working with people because the medicine world there, like plant medicine, is relatively strong. So I was working a lot with people who had been to ceremony the night before or a few days before, and that really was supportive for their physical and emotional integration afterwards.
Yeah, oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
even just being able to like release emotions.
Yeah.
And because from my personal experience, you really hold space so beautifully, and I've just felt so safe to release, and that alone is such a valuable thing, because like we live in a time where you shouldn't cry, you're weak and stuff like that. So just that fact alone, to be able to release that emotions and have someone to, process that, like not process, help to process that and feel, made me feel safe to release that and no judgment. That's already such a big thing for me that I received from the session. So thank you.
beautiful.
So the next question. We already talked a little bit about Chi Nei Tsang and what you learned from it, which we cover what will people get out, but I want to like focus more and dig deeper on like the benefits of this practice and who will get the most out of Chi Nei Tsang.
Sure, yeah. Well, as I say, like Chi Nei Tsang can be translated or offered to so many different people. There aren't really any limitations on who can receive it. You just can't receive it if you're bleeding or pregnant.
But before bleeding.
But before or after, it's perfect. And yeah, it's basically for anybody that is looking for a better level of general health, physically and emotionally. So the massage can be used for relieving things like constipation, digestive issues, eliminating abdominal discomfort, improved digestion in general, and improvements with reproductive and sexual health. And Chi Nei Tsang has also been really helpful with chronic pains such as back, neck and shoulder pains and problems related to misalignment of the feet, legs and pelvis. So it basically works on detoxifying and strengthening and restructuring the body. So whilst we mainly focus on the internal organs and the intestines, the whole person and the whole body benefits. Yeah. And it's not just working on the internal organs, like the digestion is addressed, the respiratory, the lymphatic, the nervous system, the reproductive system, as well as the immune system.
Yeah.
So it's really beneficial for our physical well-being, but also our emotional well-being, because as we know, having a poor emotional digestion, when we're not allowing ourselves to process our emotions, it's one of the most toxic things that can be, one of the most toxic things for the body.
Yes, totally. Like I add more information from Ayurvedic perspective, which what I'm practicing is that Agni, or also known as our digestive fire, is one of the most crucial thing when it comes to our health, because like with a perfect digestion, we can basically transform anything, whether it's bad experience, bad food, thoughts, or anything that we consume, quote unquote, in our life, not just necessarily food, but experience as well. If we have fully functioning, perfect digestions, then we can just transform that. Okay, that's shit. Okay, we can absorb that. If this is shit, okay, let it out. Then we can just continue to do what we need to do, achieve our dreams, or just fulfilling our purpose in life. And if that is not fully functioning, we, kind of like getting slow and sluggish and just lethargic in our life. And that's really all to do with that. One of the, of course, crucial factor is our digestions, because it has that important mission to transform things is our digestion. So I can totally understand why is it important, how it can benefit so many people, even if you don't have digestive issue, quote unquote, because especially if you haven't done it, who knows that we've been holding into baggage for so many years that we don't even know. So I mean, coming from personal experience, I remember when I first did it, I was just curious. My former partner, he also offered Chi Nei Tsang, which I was learning from. And then I was like, yeah, okay, what am I going to get out of this? And I was crying like crazy. And then after that, it's just like, oh my God, I feel so much lighter.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that I have all this year, I hold this baggage that I didn't even know. And the reason why I have this bloatedness, the reason I have this, issue in my belly, my digestive issue and all of that was one of the reasons was because I hold so much emotion in my baggage that I didn't even realize that it was even there. So, totally important for me.
Yeah,
so,
I think that a lot of people don't have that awareness, but what this practice does, it brings that awareness to one's body and to one's organs, to bring the more life and the vitality and health that they actually should be having. So you're not carrying, quote unquote, your crap around with you.
Totally.
You're not a rubbish bin.
Totally. So for example, like liver related with the emotion of anger and frustration. And I noticed that as I'm going through difficult stuff in my life that made me, experience that emotions, I noticed that my right part of my face get like acne, like reddish acne, which I rather related with pitta, with the emotion of fire, and it's related with the liver as well. And I noticed that when my liver is more like released from the emotion, my acne actually slowly disappearing, because that physical imbalance also highly related with my emotional imbalance.
Yeah.
So it's just so amazing how important it is to conjunct the treatment of our physical health, but also obviously our emotional health, mental health, and in this case, the work in our organs, because the organs first related to certain organs, secondly our belly also, of course, where the digestion is, and digestion is really important to transform things in our life which can affect our well-being. So it's just really amazing practice. So next question is, I know that this is such a great practice. I'm curious, is there any contraindications that people need to be aware of? I know you mentioned about don't do it when you're pregnant or bleeding.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, so it's not, if you've had like any kind of abdominal surgery within the last year, then it should be avoided. Yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Okay,
yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Or the contraindication, those who's not ready yet to face their emotion, that might come.
Well, yeah.
That's a good one. Because that might come up, things might come up, and if you're not ready for that, or in this case, I think it really depends on the practitioners, you know what I mean? If the practitioner can help to facilitate, again, that release of emotion, it can help you out no matter what, like even if you're not ready to feel that. And maybe having that with the right practitioners, you can actually feel safe to be ready to face that. There's just something come up to my head, just so interesting. Anyway, I know that every practitioners of Chi Nei Tsang will offer things differently. And when I went for a session with you, when you told me it's gonna be 2 hours, and I'm like, what? I was like, 2 hours of Chi Nei Tsang?
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember like 1 hour of Chi Nei Tsang is already like, oh, can you stop now? Can you stop now? And yet, that 2 hour session with you was so different to any others. So before I reveal to other people here what was the 2 hour session is about, and I know it's not a master 2 hour you mentioned, so I was just curious what makes a Chi Nei Tsang session different with you than with any other practitioners.
For sure. So from my experience, Chi Nei Tsang has been somewhat of a medical massage. Like the practitioner comes, they wear rubber gloves, and it's very much in a medical setting. The way I practice is more in a ceremonial setting. So I use candles, I use smudging, sage, palo santo, beautiful oils, and it's it is a 2 hour session, but it's about the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Oh, totally.
So it's an experience. It's not just about
getting in there
and getting the work done. It's really making sure that when somebody comes to see me that they feel comfortable. I check in about their intentions, whether they have anything that's really alive for them at the moment, whether that be emotional, whether that be physical, or like how their digestion is, all that kind of stuff. And I'm throughout the session, or at the beginning of the session, I'm inviting the person or the client to tune into their intentions, to tune into why they came, to tune into anything that they want to release, let go of, so they have an intention for the session that they can when they're experiencing some discomfort or pain, when some memory or story or emotion comes up, they can keep tuning back into that intention. And yeah, as I say, then it's about an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half of actual like internal organ massage, and then there's obviously a good ending to ensure that all the energy that has been worked through is fully dispersed from the body.
Yes.
And it goes back to the earth, back from where it came. And yeah, and to make sure afterwards that the client is feeling grounded, is feeling safe, is feeling emotionally stable.
Yes.
So it's, you know, it's holding space for that 2 hours. Totally. For a person to go through their process.
Yeah. So I would like to emphasize a few things, not emphasize, but more like the making a star, like what I like the most from your session compared to the other Chi Nei Tsang session that I ever received. First, intention. Yeah, like you really put so much attention to intention. Because like, you know, we will only get things based on our intention. So I really, really, really love the fact that you at the beginning of the session helped me to get in touch with what's my intention and reminding me throughout the session, especially when I forgot. You know, you notice that I hold my breath and my things, and you're like, okay, checking back to intention, and that helped me to release even more. Yeah. And I also love the fact that you treat me in every layers, not just going into the ear and the physical aspect, but also like how you smudge me, for example, and how you help me to do the breath work. Like in terms, when I say breath work, it's more like focusing on my deep belly breath, because that helps to first activate the parasympathetic nerve system, makes me even more calm and relaxed, which helps to release even more. And I notice that when things are like so painful, I have a tendency to just hold, and you're like, check in with your breath, with your such an angelic, beautiful, soft voice. And as I exhale with sound, and this is important tips, I think if people want to do this Chi Nei Tsang session, to really focus on their deep belly breath, and as you exhale, use a sound, because that will help to release whatever baggage, shit that store there even more. So and yeah, I just really love the fact that you really put attention on treating your client, in this case me, in my personal experience, like holistically, not just the physical aspect, getting into there with rubber gloves that just, like you said, make it like medical sense, which is actually true, but also like seeing human wholly, like as the fullness of they are, and I really, really appreciate that. So I will highly recommend for those who are have a chance to see you, and even if they don't have quote-unquote problem with their digestions, just like come and check it out, because you might hold baggage, you know what I mean, which I'm sure many people actually face that problem. So the next part that I would like to ask is just a frequently asked question that I in the past asked, and I receive question a lot from people. And the first question is, would it be painful? I know I mentioned at the very beginning that it is painful, but would it be painful? Maybe can come from you.
Yeah, for sure. So you know, Chi Nei Tsang is really about getting to the core of what's happening, and yeah, as we are moving more towards the core and really inviting, working deeply with the internal organs, you know, pain can arise, and you know, some people do experience pain, some discomfort, you know, sometimes some slight shooting pains, you know, but they're only temporary, and that's what I'm you know, always reminding people of. It's like the pain isn't there forever, you know. If we allow ourselves to experience it and to move through it in a safe way, through this, you know, through this method, then the pain is temporary. So yeah, people can experience some pain, but other people experience no pain, you know. People go into deep meditation, and you know, they have deep visuals, and
yes, I can speak from experience that first the pain actually a release of things. So and I noticed that when I experience pain, and as that release, I actually went somewhere. My mind was drifted somewhere, and I remember you often like need to keep reminding me, Zia, take a deep breath, because when I'm just gone, I'm just gone. I even forget to breathe. And it is actually so beautiful. That pain, like you said, is just a temporary. So if we allow that pain to come up, which is like when it resurfaces, basically is a way to release. So it's such an also like a meditative experience to just witness the pain without any judgment, without like where does it come from, and just like experience it to like and be present with it, to just allow it to let go. And another thing that I actually, you know, appreciate with the pain when it's there, of course, is that to be aware, where does that pain come from? Like, and then later I check in with you, oh, what's that area? It's like, why is it painful? And then, for example, in the past, like my liver, for example, is so inflamed, and it's just super sensitive when people touch in there. Now it's not as much because, of course, I changed my diet and the whole thing, but that's because during the Chi Nei Tsang session at the beginning, my liver was so sensitive, and then I asked, what was that area? Oh, it was liver. Okay, so then my homework at home is to focus on balancing my liver from my diet, from my lifestyle, and my other things. And then it's also like a reminder to myself, because one of my teachers say that a healing sessions is a 50% work of the practitioner and 50% work of the client, me in this case. Like many people just like comment like, okay, heal me. But like, you know, the work actually on you, and especially like you can't rely on practitioners. You need to like be aware and like what you do on a daily basis, and it's actually such an empowering thing to experience that pain, because then you, as we mentioned earlier, you become aware of what's going on with your body, and if there's certain pain in certain areas, certain organs, then you know that area needs love the most. You need to pay attention to that. So totally correct. So pain, not pain, totally normal. No judgment if you have pain.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
Any process is welcome.
Yeah. As always, all of the information that we share here on Holistic Nomad podcast and TV are educational in nature, which means if you would like to apply this information with you, I will highly recommend to consult further with your practitioners, because as we always emphasize that everyone is unique and different. These, no matter how good it is, no matter how bad it is, for example, it will be different from person to person. So always consult with your practitioners. Next one. I have another question for you. Actually, another question. Before we end the session for today, anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to speak upon what you shared about, you know, 50% when you're receiving a healing session, 50% is about obviously you, and 50% is about obviously what the practitioner offers, and it's about also going home and really spending time with your integration. So just to mention that the self-care for when, if you do decide to receive Chi Nei Tsang, self-care is, and integration is one of the most important components to any healing work that we receive. So it's really about going home and really being with the process and allowing yourself to be in your own space and your own silence, to just give space to that whatever wants to arrive, whether that be journaling or just to sit still and to not get into any mindy or negative conversations, because we've just done a lot of work on opening and releasing. And so just really the invitation, if you are going to receive this practice, to really give some time to that integration. And we also say nothing cold for 24 hours, because we've just worked a lot with the kidneys. Yes, totally.
A very last question.
What
self-care looks like for you in your personal life? I love that you just smile right away, like, self-care give me like so much joy and happiness.
Self-care. For me, it's really simple. I don't like to overcomplicate things. So for me, it's just really about lighting a candle, putting on some incense. And for me, the elements and fire is a big self-care practice, because I see the elements, especially fire, as like a tool for transformation, and just to sit in silence and watch nature, and to sit and light a candle and just to burn some incense and sage myself is predominantly my most go-to self-care.
I love it, that like time with yourself, to connect with yourself, and fire, nature, like just facilitate that you to go deeper, knowing yourself even more and being with yourself. It's beautiful. So for those who want to have a session with you, who would like to know more about you, where can they reach you?
Sure. So I have a Facebook page, which is the name of it is Chi Nei Tsang with Hara, and also an email address that we can put in the
caption below.
And
and so a bit information, a hint here. Hara and we are going to collaborate together for a Ayurvedic detox, mini detox. Basically, is involve kitchery fast classes on why we do the practices that we do, and then of course movement. And with Hara here, when I found her, I was like, damn girl, I need to involve you like in my session, because like in my retreat, I mean, because at the end, usually part of the Ayurvedic detox practice is something called basi, or oil enema. So we don't use just like typical colonics, but we use oil so that it also lubricate and nourish the nerve system. And this is not the typical quote unquote Ayurvedic detox, because Chi Nei Tsang is not, it's not coming from Ayurveda. But for me, it's like there's nothing wrong. I think the more things that we involve, the better it is. So in this case, we will do Chi Nei Tsang, the detox belly massage, before we do the oil enema, so that we can get rid of things even more. So for those who are interested, then on the caption below there's a link to learn more about our future collaboration, and I'm really excited. I know that at the end of every session of me and you, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited to share this with the world. I personally get so much benefit out of the session with you, so I highly recommend for other people to get a session with you as much as they can. I know that you're here in Bali and you also travel, so if you have the opportunity to see her, just go and book a session with you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Sia.
Oh, I really appreciate everything that you do. Such an amazing support. You're angelic, soft, beautiful, but like, you know, like firm and strong presence, thanks to that fire practice. And I know that you'll do so much more amazing thing, and I look forward to see how you will manifest more amazing things in your life.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sia.
Oh, can I just give you a hug?
Yeah.
Oh. Now, theory without practice is wasteful, because hearing leads to forgetting, teaching leads to remembering, and applying leads to mastering. That's why we encourage you to leave a comment below and share one learning insights from this podcast. Also, if you like this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe so you will be the first to hear about our future educational content. And for more resources on health and healing, check out our website holisticnomads.com. There you'll find articles, quizzes on Ayurveda, loads of free downloads, and of course, our future events and courses. Thank you so much for listening. We hope it's been beneficial for you. Hope to see you next week. Bye!